Hello and welcome. I'm going to show you just a couple of the basic things that you can practice as you're beginning to learn about ELDOA. My name is Marla Wall and I teach ELDOA, Buteyko, yoga, Pilates, lots of movement practices. And I end up working with a lot of clients who need some help just remembering what are the basics of ELDOA, and if I want to practice, how do I practice on my own after I've really only done maybe one introductory lesson. So this is a review of just a few things that will be really helpful. So using a wall to remember what the spine flattening is. I want to walk my bum really close to the wall. You don't have to cross your legs like this. You might prefer to sit with the legs stretched out. And if it's really difficult to sit here, fold up a blanket or sit on a cushion so that your pelvis is elevated. You could also be doing this sitting on a chair with a nice straight back, like a dining room chair, or use a bench to sit against a wall. All right, so your pelvis is really close to the wall. Walk those sit bones right in. As I make contact with the wall, I feel the back of my pelvis, the back of my shoulders, and for me, I do feel the back of my head easily touching the wall. If there's a little bit of kyphosis in your thoracic spine, if there's a little bit of rounding in your upper back, your head might have that slight forward posture. If that's the case, when you try to touch your head to the wall, it's going to look like that. So that's not going to be a good thing. So we want to be lengthening out the curves of the spine, not pinching. So if your head is naturally a little bit forward, we're going to work on that, of course, but what you want to do is maybe just touch the back of the shoulders, touch your head so you get a sense of how far that is, and then glide that occipital bone up so that your jaw is level, so that your eyes can easily look to the horizon, or if you want to think of it, the crown of your head should be shining up. Okay, so for me, I can touch the wall, but if you can't, then your head is a little forward, but the jaw starts to pull back. We have three movable curves in the spine: lumbar, thoracic, and cervical. And what we're going to do is we're going to lengthen so that those curves start to flatten out. Remember, in the beginning especially, it's halfway between an action and an idea. So as I make my contact with the wall, I'm going to soften into the wall, relax the surface tension a little bit, find the base, find your sit bones, find that downward connection to gravity. I'm going to sink or push down through my sit bones and feel the top of my head sliding up. Again, I'm going to soften into the wall, slide myself up a little taller. I want to create the greatest distance from the top of my head to the sit bones. And like a TheraBand, I just want to pull it taut. And then I want to see, can I dial it up a little bit more? Can I get a little taller, a little softer? Right behind your belly button is L3. That's the apex of the lumbar. Right behind my center of my sternum is about T6. That's the center of my thoracic. And about right behind your Adam's apple is C4, C5, and that's the middle of my neck. I'm going to maintain this spinal decompression for about 5 breaths. Elbows are heavy, shoulders are heavy, I'm nice and tall. I start to feel some spinal muscles complaining. They're working a little bit hard. That's okay. It's like a dull ache deep in the spine, but it's a good thing. My surface is relaxed, my breath is really soft, but I'm still working pretty hard from the inside. When I'm ready to let it go, I'm going to dial it down, slowly soften and relax back into my natural curves. And take a little breath there. Relax my shoulders. Okay, so that's your spine flattening with the wall. We're using the wall as a tool. Eventually you don't want to be using the wall, but it's a really good tool in the beginning. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flatten into the wall, push down through my sit bones, up through my head. I'm going to reach my right arm forward, wake up those ligaments in the shoulder, open the palm, bend at the wrist. I'm going to use my other hand to keep my low ribs softening into the wall, push the palm away. So there's an opposing force here. Ribs go back, hand pushes forward. I'm going to float this arm up. Try to keep that rotation in the shoulder as much as I can. Rather than point my fingers to the back, I want to at least point them to the side, maybe around to the front, and I'm going to push up. I'm decompressing mostly on the right side now, but I'm trying to keep that central line through the center. After about 5 or 6 breaths, I'm going to soften this arm down. Let's do the other side. Wind and unwind at the shoulder socket a little bit. With the palm open, spread my fingers. I'm going to keep my ribs and spine soft. I still have that axial tension from the crown to my tailbone. I've lengthened and flattened out the spine. Push the palm up. Remember, the fingers don't point to the back, they point to the side and maybe around to the front. Where I'm really winding is in the shoulder socket. I'm going to push up through my palm, up through my head, flatten out my spine. Now maybe your arm can only come here, that's okay. We're just doing the best we can. And then I'm going to soften this arm down and relax. After a little break, I'm going to do both. Open the palms, bend at the wrists, long flat spine. Float both arms up, spread my fingers, push the palms up, sink down through the pelvis, flatten against the wall. Let's not leave out the head and neck. The crown is floating up. I'm really spreading my fingers wide so that I'm stretching the skin of my palm. Keep spiraling in the shoulders. Maybe they can come around a little more. Can I stay flattened into the wall? Soft, easy breath. After about 5, 6, maybe 8 breaths, I'm going to relax this arm down. Again, we dial it down slowly, slowly. It took a while to work into that nice deep stretch, and we want to come out softly, slowly. So that's practicing using the wall. Now I'm going to come away from the wall, and I'm going to do a more specific ELDOA for T6, T7, the mid-thoracic. I've found the center for my pelvis, for my ribs. I've found that gravity line. Now I'm not using the wall. Of course, you can use the wall. I'm just giving you an example. So now I'm away from the wall, but I have the memory of the information that the wall gave me. I'm going to keep my hands together, keep my gravity line, keep the ribs in place, and start to float the arms up. Now, with tightness in the shoulders, sometimes this is a little easier, and sometimes we need to move the arms a little more forward. If there's no tightness in the shoulders, I'm going to reach up with hands together. Now, as the arms go up, it's natural that this starts to happen, so I'm going to not let myself do that. I'm going to remember how it felt to use the wall. Reach up with my arms, my head. Pelvis is sinking down like a rock. It's like I'm holding a helium balloon with my fingertips. I've got that string in my fingers, and that string is attached to my head, lifting my head off my body, flattening out the curves. 5, 6, maybe 8 breaths. As long as you feel like you're still getting space, you're lengthening, decompressing, and then I'm going to float one arm down, other arm, and then relax my spine. So that's the ELDOA for the mid-thoracic, the apex of the thoracic curve. And now I'm going to do the ELDOA for the middle of my neck. That is C4, C5. And so that's a really good one to get at. I'm going to lay on my back. And I'm going to decompress my spine a little bit just by pushing the pelvis away, flattening the ribs, pushing out through my head. Just a little bit of effort. Just to show my spine how to decompress here. Then I'll bring my knees up onto my chest. Reach straight up to the sky. Wind and unwind at the shoulder sockets. Now I could flex my feet. That's going to help me find the reach through the sit bones. For some people, that's too much tension on their legs. You can always just let that go. I'm going to flex my feet so that I can push my sit bones away, tuck my chin, flatten my ribs, spiral the arms, push my palms up as my ribs sink down. So my shoulders do move. I'm not keeping my shoulders here. I'm actually winding and pushing them away, tucking my chin, looking down, spread the palms open, push out through the head, push out through the sit bones. I want to stay for 5, 6, or 8 breaths. Try to keep all those lines of tension. Stretch the skin of the hands, the skin of the feet, push through the sit bones, flatten out the neck, the ribs. When I'm ready to come down, I'm going to start by my feet. So I'm going to relax one foot and leg, relax the other foot, one arm, other arm, and relax the curves of my spine. Especially after the neck ELDOA, I like to take a little rest, maybe 3 or 4 breaths. It's up to you. One more pose I'm going to do here for you is the L5S1. Very important ELDOA. So right near the bottom of the spine, the last lumbar vertebra as it connects to the sacrum. So my hamstrings are fairly long, so I have my bum right close to the wall. If your hamstrings are very short, you're going to want to be further away from the wall. So I'm going to bring my legs up the wall. I'm going to lightly bend my knees to drop the tailbone and widen the sit bones. Flex and point my feet a few times, maybe wake up my toes. Let's start with the spine. I'm going to reach the sit bones into the wall and push my head away as I tuck the chin. Flatten through the ribs, so I've got that axial tension, spinal decompression happening. If I need to, I'll just press my hands just to get that feeling of length through the spine. Maintain it. Then I'm going to stretch my legs without curling the tail. If you find that you stretch your legs and then your tailbone curls, you might have to keep your knees a bit soft or move further away from the wall. Okay, so the sit bones are wide, 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 reaching to the wall. I'm going to stretch my legs, wind my toes in, wind the kneecaps in a little. Energy up through my legs, up through my heels, out through my head, out through my sit bones. Now I add the arms. I open the palms, bend at the wrists, push the palms away while my ribs sink down, and then start to guide my arms. I keep my hands as wide as my shoulders. Now everyone's different, so maybe this is as far as you can go without losing the contact of the ribs. Keep the contact of the ribs and try bringing your arms by your ears. See what you can do. I'm pushing out through my palms, out through my sit bones, eyes down to my cheeks, energy out through my heels. Stay for 5 to 8 breaths. When I'm ready to come out, I'm going to float one arm up, back to my tummy, other arm. I'm going to relax one leg, other leg, relax my spine. And again, here I can take a few just gentle breaths. Let myself relax and breathe. And then, might even feel good to just do a little pelvic curl. When I'm going to come away from the wall, I'm just going to roll, do a little sausage roll, and come back to seated position. Okay. So hopefully that was a really good reminder, and ideally we do our ELDOAs once a day. The end of the day is a really good time before you go to sleep, but also basically anytime you have to do it is better than not doing it at all. So it's going to be the way to change your body gradually is to do a little bit each day. I'm talking 10 minutes. If you can spend 5 to 10 minutes right before you go to sleep, or again, whenever you have the time, and then come to class. Come and see me for class so that you get some variety and you keep learning, how can I refine it? How can I get a little bit better with these tools? All right, thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you in class. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks so much.